All right. All right. I don't mean to be stepping on uh, Josh's toes right now, but I was watching Josh's stream as I like to do. Um, and Josh was stream sniping Frauditor Wrangler. And Frauditor Wrangler is a giant lol cow now. I guess he always was a giant lol cow, but people are actually picking up on that he's a giant lol cow. And he didn't have a lot of people in his stream, and that was great. And Josh finally caught up and had more people in his stream than Frauditor Wrangler had in Frauditor Wrangler's stream. But then the stupid came out, and I am. Hey Nate, how's it going? I am. I hate people who don't understand the law, who talk about the law as if they understand it, and who talk about cases that they don't understand. Like they've probably never read, they've probably never even looked at. So we're gonna listen to Frauditor Wrangler, and we're gonna see what Frauditor Wrangler has to say.
Well, who said that a YouTuber isn't a journalist? I'm like, it was.
Who said a YouTuber isn't a journalist? Well, everybody is a journalist. Everybody is a reporter. You have freedom of speech, freedom of the press. That's to you. It's not up to the government to decide who is or isn't a reporter. But I guess that's what Frauditor Wrangler wants because he's a fucking career criminal.
It was a criminal judge in the state of Washington. It has exhausted its appeals in the state of Washington. The judge's ruling has stood, and
it was not a criminal judge in the state of Washington. It was in the state of Washington. It's Green versus Pierce County. This is a civil case, not a criminal case. And it did make it up to the Supreme Court of the state of Washington. It deals with a Freedom of Information Act, Public Records Act. And with the Public Records Act, there are some, the following employment and licensing information is exempt from public inspection and copying. So under the Public Records Act, you can't get some things, except there's an exception. There is an exception to the rule. And the exception to the rule is if you are a member of the news media, quote, as defined in RCW, which is the Revised Code of Washington, section 5.68.010, section 5, then the section doesn't apply, and you can get these records. Well, what does the RCW code define news media as? They define news media to be any newspaper, magazine, or other periodical, book publisher, news agency, wire service, radio or television station or network, cable or satellite station or network, or audiovisual production company, or any entity that is in the regular business of news gathering and disseminating news or information to the public by any means, including but not limited to print, broadcast, photographic, mechanical, internet, or electronic distribution. So Section A is talking about entities. This is important for the decision. I don't agree with the decision, but that's fine. Or any person who is or has been an employee, agent, or independent contractor of any entity listed in subsection A. So they've switched from entities to persons. That's important for the decision. Who is or has been engaged in a bona fide news gathering for such entity and who has obtained or prepared the news or information that is sought while serving in that capacity. Or any parent, subsidiary, or affiliate of the entities listed in A or B of the subsection to the extent that the subpoena or other compulsory process seeks news or information described in subsection 1 of this section. So what happened? What happened is we had Green, who operates a YouTube channel. He operates Liberty's Champion YouTube channel. And the argument was that the statutory definition requires Liberty's Champion YouTube to be a legal entity separate from Green. That was important to it. And what the court found was that, yes, in order for this definition to apply, which is the exemption to this specific statute's requirement that for non-dissemination of certain employment and licensing information, then you have to fit. So only for the purpose of this section does this definition apply. This definition only applies to this section, or this section only uses that specific definition. So it has to fit that exemption in the other statute in order for the exemption to apply. And the problem is that it didn't apply. The Supreme Court of Washington looked at it and said, well, unfortunately, we're looking at the statutory definition of news media. Statutory definition is distinct from a common definition or a constitutional definition. This is just a statutory definition. So for the purpose of this statute, they defined news media as this. The statute requires a two-part analysis. First, a purported member of the news media must fall under one of the traditional news outlets or the general term entity. And so the Supreme Court determined that entity meant it must be a company. So liberties, it does not fit into any of the categories listed in the statute, nor is it an entity. Parties focus their arguments on the meaning of the word entity in the statute. The court doesn't examine the specific word in a vacuum. Rather, they consider the context of the surrounding text to determine the legislature's intent. So we're interpreting the intent of the legislature of the state of Washington. So this has nothing to do, but we'll go back.
Has been filed to SCOTUS. They haven't taken it up. It's got to work its way through the federal appeals courts first.
It doesn't. It does not go through the federal courts of appeals. An appeal from the state Supreme Court is going to go to the United States Supreme Court if they choose to accept it. They don't bump to a federal court of appeal. And this case, in fact, did. Here is the petition for writ of certiorari. And here is where the Supreme Court of the United States denied the petition for writ of certiorari. So no, it does not go through the courts of appeal. It goes straight from state Supreme Court to United States Supreme Court. They're two different tracks.
And then it'll get SCOTUS, and if any of them, if it ever even makes it to SCOTUS, they'll do one of two things. They'll either take it up or they won't. And
Wow, breathtaking. They'll either take it up or they won't. This guy's a fucking legal genius. They'll either take it up or they won't. I mean, this level of legal analysis, so the Supreme Court, if you petition them for writ of certiorari, they'll either accept it or deny it. They'll grant it or deny it. It's a binary, guys. And everybody say thank you to this fucking smooth-brained motherfucker for educating us all. That's really it. I don't have a lot to go on tonight. I could go over other stuff, but I don't want to. So we have Paige saying first, I guess. Jerry Farrell says, hi, Merb. Nasty Nate asks how it's going, and it's going good, Nate. How's it going for you? Michelle says this has been such a funny night. Josh was killing it. I hope that Frauditor Wrangler puts up his chat, because for those of you who aren't aware, who aren't following Josh, the whole Frauditor Wrangler chat was just responding to Josh. So they were in Josh's stream and they were in Frauditor Wrangler's stream. It's pretty fun. Bear Legal Brief says, please only pick a fight if we're going to learn something. Well, if you don't learn something, that's not my fault. I can only give you the information. What you do with it is up to you. Jerry Farrell says, I was watching Josh until you went live. Chili's Blow Up Doll says, Lowell Merb, you can't be that mean to VOP. I called her a bad thing. I'm a naughty boy. Redacted says, yo. Fam Rut says, Joshy, that's stoned vet. Or, as Frauditor's crew likes to call him, stoned veterinarian. because they're fucking hilarious like that. Joseph Blow Up Doll says Stone Vet Josh. Fam Rut says thank you. Joseph Blow Up Doll says no problem. Maggie K says, oh my god, Merb live with bunches of red hearts. Well, that is very kind of you. I feel the love. Can you feel the love tonight? Ryan Youngblood says, yeah, Josh who? We don't know no Joshes. Oh, well, that's funny. I thought you were over there sucking his nuts earlier. Jared Farrell says, hey, Nasty Nate. Lucky Hex says, Josh Prime. I don't know what that is. But sure. Mag K says, Nathaniel, why are you with despicable Josh? Richard Hilliard says, Nasty Nate, can you tell us what the hand lotion was for at your party with DMA? And your tattoo striptease? What was that all about? Well, I mean, if you don't know what that was all about, you probably shouldn't be on YouTube. This is 13 and up, I believe. Papa Sanser says, we here. Maggie K says, lol, he's sick. Chills Doll says, raid incoming. Chills Doll says, raid. Patscat says, hiya. Patscat says, double the fun tonight. Chills Doll says, Josh. Falcax says, howdy y'all. Chills Doll says, Falcax. Australia, mate. Mirrors says, thumbs up. Logan Sandman says, hey everybody. Jay Roberts says, you really upset Josh going live while he was. I'm sure I did. Josh has a very fragile ego. He's a sensitive fella. He wears lady undergarments. Just so you know, he's very sensitive. Stone Vet says, "What's up?" Got Skin says, "Over from SV." Choose Bob Doll says, "Logan." Logan Sandman says, "Choose Bob Doll. What's up?" You guys were just in a stream together, like right before you came over to this one. Okay. I Yell a Lot says, "All right, we here, Merbles, love us." Ooh, I do love you. We love you long time. Diane Portland says, Stone Vet said we should all come over here. Well, that's very kind of him. I Yell a Lot says, Josh, we're so pissed at you, Merb. I don't think so. And it's always better to be pissed off than pissed on, unless you're into that kind of thing. And I'm not here to shame you. Ryan M says, when is Josh not live lately? 4-hour stream. Well, the man has stamina, and that's why the ladies love him. Sweet Melissa says, oh, shit. She said something. Hey again, loves. Well, hey again, loves to you too. Chiz Doll says VOP is stalking Stone Vet. Well, she has a sandy vagina, so she wants a little bit of his man lotion to lubricate it. Jay Robert says shouldn't have done that to Josh Merb. I know I'm a terrible person. Chiz Doll says Melissa. Chiz Doll says VOP loves Stone Vet. She does. She wants his man juice. Jay Robert says Josh have himself a stalker. Probably. Apparently, if you watch someone's video, you stalk them. It's the things you learn. Jolie Fillet says, is Frauditor Wrangler wrong? No way. I know. It's who to fucking thunk it, right? Joe's Blow Up Doll says, yepers. Dave says, so set up an LLC and assign the YouTube to it. Would that satisfy the condition? It might. I believe that there was an LLC, and he didn't or was there just talk about setting up an LLC? I get it. This is about a year old. There was a lot of excitement over it when it first came out because the anti-frauditor team thought they had won something because they didn't understand it. And I don't remember all that came out of it, but if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong. No, it does not have. It did not have one. So the discussion du jour for him, in order to be able to, for people in Washington, if you want to be able to get the public records, the employment records, and you want to qualify for this subsection so that you can actually get them, then yes, form an LLC or a corporation or something like that, an entity that's separate from you. Have that entity engage in the practice of gathering news, and then you are good to go. And just because, like, if you have to do that, like, that's kind of weird. And I don't know why Washington would set it up that way, because like if you have worked for one of those in the past, then you're good. Or if you're going around trying to gather news for some other company, not for your own dissemination, then you're good. It's really dumb. I don't like it. But But sometimes courts are sticklers for the letter of the law and not the intention of the law. So there you go. Scotto says, "What up?" Hand waving. Chose Bullet Doll says, "Scott." Jolie Philly says he said that more than once. I don't know what that is, but he's probably been wrong more than once. Johnny Switchblade says, "If VOP's parents served in World War II, she's pushing 80 or is already there." Let's see. 44-ish, so you could probably get in at 17. So 44 minus 17 is 27. Uh, so then they could have had her late in life. Let's say 35. Let's say Pops is 40. So that'd be 67. So that would put her at 54, somewhere in there. So you're probably right. Odds are, but there's a possibility that she could be younger. Michelle says he also said tonight that the people have a right to police services. Is that correct? Uh, so right. It would really depend on how he was defining right. Um, there is a lot of case law that says if the police fail to protect you, i.e., if you get robbed or if you have a protective order. Let's say you have a protective order against your ex, and your ex comes to your house, and you call the police, and you're like, "Oh my god, my ex is here, and she's gonna stab a bunny or something," and the police don't show up before like you get harmed by your ex. You can't sue the police. But the purpose of the police is to provide services for you. So if they're not providing services, you can, as a citizen, like vote to do things like change the like for the police. It'd be like to change the management of the town so that they might fire the chief of police or something like that. There's a lot of pressure. Say what you will about what happened in what was that place, Leon Valley. There was a lot of pressure applied to Leon Valley to fire Salvaggio, and eventually he got fired. So it works if you put enough pressure and enough time, and they actually ended up like they voted one or two council persons in who were anti Salvaggio in order to get the job done. So it can happen. You could do it, but right, I don't know. It would really depend on how he's defining right. I'm sorry. That's a long-winded way of saying it's really hard to say without knowing how he defines right. Julie's Blopdahl says, "Lol." Javer says, "Oh, I hate logical redundancies. It either is or it isn't." Yes, but he's not wrong. It either is or it isn't. It's a binary, and it's either on or it's off. It's either true or false. Sweet Melissa says, "Scotto," and "Hey Merb, hello back at you." Papa Sanders says, "Wrangler and POV, maybe VOP, I'm not entirely sure, are a pair of happy ass hard R's." Happy ass hard R's. The only hard R I'm aware of is the one on at the back end of the N word, and I don't know if that's. I don't think that's what you're trying to say. So I'm probably misunderstanding. So I apologize for that. Sweet Melissa says he won't. Mr. Sauber Theater says epic is epic. Jack shit. Oh, one little scroll down. Jack Johnson says yo. Frauditor Wrangler says take my video down. It is my video, and I know the law and copyright laws. I went to University of Texas, and you give shit legal advice, but this is the real Frauditor Wrangler. So, hi, fake Frauditor Wrangler. Account faking is kind of so 2022. Sweet Melissa says SV. Gutley says Merv, you should marry Am. I don't know what that means, Gutley. I should marry in the AM. I should get married in the morning. I'm already married, so I don't know. Orange Cone says, "Howdy, Merby. Howdy back at ya." Gutley says, "Merb should marry an auditor since he loves them so much." My teams. My teams. Uh, well, okay, Gutley. If you insist, I'll marry an auditor because I love them so much. Or something. Very Legal Brief says, That spelling is solid FW Gratz. All right. Ryan M says Lowell Floyd Chili took another L in Vegas. Yeah, I guess we could talk about that. I guess we could talk about that. It's not big news or anything like that. It is pretty stupid. So we're gonna go to Wallace. Wallace, and we're gonna scroll down, and we're going to go to the order, and we're going to make it big. So the thing is that Floyd Wallace had done a motion for reconsideration on the order saying that discovery was stayed pending the resolution of any uh, requests to stay discovery. There was an order, so the judge made an order. If anybody is going to file a motion to stay discovery, then discovery will be stayed pending the resolution of that motion, right? So Chile didn't like that apparently because he wanted to stay, but he didn't want discovery to be stayed or something, and so he filed, or excuse me, Wallace filed a motion for reconsideration and a motion challenging, requesting the district court judge review the findings of the magistrate. So pending before the court is plaintiff's motion for clarification or alternatively objection to the assigned district judge. So uh, he had requested the objection to the assigned district judge the wrong way. He used the wrong code. There's two ways that you could do it. Well, there's two ways to do it. One way is where the magistrate is not making a final decision and is just making a recommendation, and the other way is where the magistrate is making a final decision. And things like discovery, at least in Las Vegas, or not Las Vegas, in Nevada, the magistrate has the authority to make a final determination for like discovery motion and things like that. Things that aren't final outcomes of the case. So a 12b6 motion, that would be a final outcome of the case. That would go to the district court judge, but a discovery motion would go to the magistrate. And then, so if you file a 12b6, the district court judge is going to make the ultimate decision, but the magistrate might be told by the district court judge to make a recommendation, and the magistrate judge will make a findings and recommendation, findings of fact and recommendation to the district court judge. So for the first one, for the discovery motion, uh, all that happens is that the district court judge will review the what the magistrate judge did and either say yes, no, or like yes it's good, no it's bad, and make its own order, or he can send it back down to the magistrate judge for the magistrate judge to do a redo. Uh, with like he might send it back to the magistrate judge and be like, okay, do it again, but remember that there's this particular rule that you need to account for. So those are the three outcomes. There's essentially three outcomes the other way too, but it's a different rule, and Chile was citing the wrong rule. So I know this is, but we just looked at another picayunish detail in the Washington one. So here's another picayunish detail for you. Uh, in one where the magistrate judge makes findings and a recommendation, a lot of times there's going to be findings of fact, like there might be oral arguments, there might be evidence presented, not necessarily evidence, but like attached to the motions and things like that. And the magistrate will have made like findings of fact, and a recommendation to the district judge. Well, if you make an objection to that, then the parts you object to, the district court judge would actually do a de novo look at. So he wouldn't be taking into account the magistrate's findings of fact like he would in, well, there aren't really any, but he'd be doing a de novo review. He'd be looking at it all over again. He'd be looking at the facts and making findings of fact. Like, oh, so I find this particular letter to be credible. I find this picture to show X or whatever. And he wouldn't be relying on the magistrate for it. But again, it all boils down to the same thing. He could either make a decision, or he could agree to the decision that the magistrate made, or he could refer it back to the magistrate to do a redo. but he looks at it de novo. That's, again, it's picayunish, but it's there. I don't know why I went over into that, but there you go. It just really bothered me, I guess, that Chile was using the wrong local rule. He says, so the magistrate Chi goes on to say the court does not require a response or hearing, i.e., the other side doesn't have to weigh in on it. The court already knows the answer the court's going to give, and there's nothing really you can do to change that. It is not proper for a party to file a motion requesting clarification from a magistrate judge and objecting to the district judge. There's these citations there. The court here addresses only the motion for clarification. If plaintiff seeks a district judge review of either this order or the prior order at issue, he may do so by filing an objection within 14 days of the issuance of this order. And so the court is, in essence, extending the prior objection deadline nunc pro tunc. That means now for then. So there was a 14-day to object to the district court judge prior, and the court's saying, like, you have 14 days from today instead of 14 days from then. With respect to the motion for clarification, the court previously ordered that, quote, if a motion to stay discovery is filed by September 12, 2023, discovery will be stayed on an interim basis pending the resolution of that request. There's no ambiguity requiring clarification. Discovery is currently stayed on an interim basis until the court resolves the motion to stay discovery. Nor has the court been persuaded to change course in light of plaintiff's current arguments. In deciding whether or not to stay discovery pending resolution of a motion to dismiss, magistrate judges conduct a preliminary peek of the papers on the underlying motion to dismiss. In this case, however, briefing on the motions to dismiss is not yet complete. Plaintiff's motion to extend time to respond to the second motion to dismiss. So it's actually Wallace that's holding up the whole motion to stay discovery analysis, because the court can't look at Wallace's opposition to the defendant's motion to dismiss until he files his opposition, and he had an extension, and so that's just pending. So the court's like, I can't do my preliminary peek until you file the paperwork, so I'm just going to stay discovery until you file the paperwork, and then I can rule on the motion to stay discovery, because it's going to take the district court judge a while, generally speaking, to figure out whether he's going to grant the 12b6 or deny it, or what have you. In such a scenario, magistrate judges act within their broad discretion to stay discovery on an interim basis to enable review of the full motion to dismiss briefing in resolving the motion to stay discovery. So there you go, broad discretion. And then citation staying discovered on an interim basis of the motion to dismiss briefing could be completed prior to ruling on a motion to stay discovery, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. In reviewing the record in this case, the court likewise found that discovery should be stayed on an interim basis until it can render a formal decision on the motion to stay discovery. And so, yeah, the magistrate judges have wide discretion in controlling the discovery process, which they exercise in effort to effectuate the goals of providing a just, speedy, inexpensive determination of the case. And then this one was plaintiff argues that filing of a motion to stay does not automatically act as a stay. The court is aware of that proposition. Like, you're a fucking idiot, you're arguing the wrong thing. Okay. It is also axiomatic that the filing of a motion to stay does not impact the obligation to proceed. Only an order granting such relief imposes a stay. In this case, the court ordered an interim stay of discovery, so plaintiff's premise is misplaced. In short, the court meant what it said when it decided that discovery should be stayed on an interim basis pending the resolution of the defendant's motion to stay discovery. The motion for clarification is granted in that the court has provided the above explanation, but is otherwise denied. So it's exactly as I said. The court had ordered one. Chile was misplaced. It was pretty stupid, but there you go. It's not really that big of a deal. I mean, it's kind of a nothing burger. Also, there was the chili versus Piratini, blue bacon. It's also another nothing burger. It's a protective order. It's all it's saying is that that both sides can designate certain discovery documents as confidential, and what that means is that if they get used in anything other than open court, that they get filed under seal. That both sides agree they're not going to disseminate them, and it's essentially both sides, I think, are worried that us creepers out here will get these documents that might have sensitive or well, I don't. I doubt there might be some financial information in there. There might be embarrassing information in there. So sensitive, I guess, is the only word I'm going to go with. Uh, uh, Thanks, Merb, our canary in the cave. All right. St. Michael says Merb will be right on that Wrangler. Right on what? I don't know. Gutley says you could marry a FOIA request. Well, not all states have FOIA requests. Some call them other things. Um, I personally like that there are laws that make available to the public some of the information that the government might not otherwise want to make public. I think everything should be public and should be up on, like, why do they hide all the court documents and things like that behind paywalls and stuff like that? I think it should all be open to the public. When you hide things like that, you give people ammunition to think that you're hiding something, that you're not being forthcoming. Like if every court proceeding was televised, and maybe we exclude the juvenile dependency stuff or the juvenile delinquency stuff because they're kids, whatever. But like if all the other stuff, like if all the civil trials, all the probate trials, if all the trials, if all the hearings, if they were all available for you to watch from the court's own cameras and to hear and to be able to do it just whenever you want and have them all recorded, etc. Then why would people want or need to take cameras into courthouses and courtrooms? I mean, like it should be available. We have the technology. We should make this stuff available. It would increase people's trust in the government because it would force the government to be more open, and and uh, mistakes could be caught easier. How about that? Orange Coast says, "Hey, Logan Sandman, Frauditor Wrangler, a fake Frauditor Wrangler, says I've never lied about anything and I've never stole anything in my life. I'm a 40% disabled combat veteran. How dare you question my 5 combat tours? I laid my life down for this country. Have respect. You literally, fake Frauditor Wrangler, you literally died for the country, and I appreciate that. I appreciate your sacrifice." Sweet Melissa says, "Hey, OC." Logan Sandman says, "Hey, Orange Cone." Sweet Melissa says, throw up, lol." Diane Portland says, "That's going to be my new drag name, Sandy Vagina." That's a good one. Orange Cone says, "Hi, Sweet Melissa." Cop Watcher says, "Merb, I recently started cop watching. Any advice for staying out of trouble, staying unarrested?" Yeah, don't be a dick. Don't be a dick. That's my number one advice. Don't be a dick. Uh, you can watch my videos. I did audits, and I wasn't a dick, and I never got arrested. Watch Jeff Gray's videos. He wasn't a dick, and he didn't get arrested. Um, Batosai, he did really good audits. I enjoyed watching his videos. Man in Black was a good auditor. He didn't get arrested. I know Batosai did. I know Philip Turner did get arrested, but it was unjustified, and we got some good case law out of it. And that's the point of being a cop watcher, is to be able to get good case law out of it. And if you're a dick, you muddy the water, and you make it harder to get good case law because the prosecutor or whoever can point at you being a dick, and it makes it harder for your attorney. So don't be a dick. Gottlieb says, "Is Merb A?" Sure. Dave says, "Cop watcher, don't." Well, that's not really nice. Jack Johnson says, "The guy who invented the pet rock made $1 million. Only? I thought he made more." Gutley says, "Is Merb a sovsits?" Is Merb a sovsits? Is Merb a something that's plural? Probably not. Nor am I a sovsit singular. I'm an attorney, and I probably know more about the law than you. Probably. I probably can understand it better than you, but you can call me a sovsit if that makes you feel better. I mean, I get called an alcoholic. You might as well call me a sovsit, right? Papa Sanser says, "All in all, tonight has been pretty fun. I'm glad I stayed up past my bedtime." Well, go to bed. Dave says, "Hell, law can be weird." It sure can. JJ Thomas says, "But Merb, all the 1A auditor haters are law scholars. Actually, they are much like Chili. They enjoy the use of the 1A, but they don't think others should use it if they don't agree with how." And it cuts off. Yeah, they enjoy taking advantage of the First Amendment and being able to poop all over the auditors. Yeah, and I thought it was kind of funny that that Frauditor Wrangler, who streams other people's shit and stream snipes other people's shit, was upset over Stone Vet stream sniping him. So yeah, I mean, it's this both sides in this fucking shitty corner of YouTube are full of hypocrites, chock full of hypocrites. It's a never-ending display of hypocrisy. Nema says, Dave, what's wrong with cop watching? Cop watch says, Dave, but I really wanna. I'll tell you what I want, what I really want. I'll tell you what you really want. I wanna zigga 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 zigga. K Far says, fellas, even when Mike is caught red-handed with his pants down, I'm standing behind him straight up. Mike is a good soldier and brother. I've read his full paperwork and it all matches up. Please stop. Are you the K Far? You're obviously a fake K Far, but I like to joke about with his pants down, you're standing right behind him straight up. Yeah, because gay jokes. Everybody likes them. Everybody loves them. Nama says everybody should record the police. Absolutely. Gutley says cop watching is unemployed behavior. Well, I did it when I had a job, so apparently you're not that smart. Cop Watcher says, Dave, when a cop watch not get arrested, that is. Scott Emo says, it's okay, everyone, I'm here now. We were waiting for you, Scott. Nama says, nonsense. Orange Cone says, orange hand waving, just to mix it up. Sue ZQ says, thanks for the laughs, as always. Papa Sanders says, that K-Bar, see what you did there. JJ Thomas says, Mike is not a vet, you should stop. Okay. Nama says, people need to hold the police accountable for their actions. Julie K says, have you all ordered your 5A copper card from Chile? Chop chop. Ponzi says, yeah. Tomato and or tomato says, hey Merb, love the show. Are you a Gouda or a cheddar person? Ooh. Like for I don't know, probably cheddar, just because there's so many varieties of cheddar out there. Gouda is really good. I love the aged Dutch Gouda that have the little flavor crystals, like the 5 to 10-year-old cheese. Super good. Love it. Kfar says that Pop Sanser, I am on fake. Kfar says that Pop Sanser, I'm on my knees begging for my completing for a happy ending. Happy ending of all of this. Gutley says, hey Merb, are you Moorish American? Fucking. Oh, this is trolling, huh? This is trolling. All right. Sure, Gutley. Sure. JJ Tom says, even if you were a vet, he still invaded people's private homes. We're not talking trespass or breaking and entering. Did I mention killing someone? Yeah, he's a terrible person. You're only as good as the company you keep. That is not necessarily true. I mean, if you look at it from a biblical standpoint, Jesus hung out with the prostitutes and stuff. But if you're defending the actions and the honor of someone who is shitty, like Michael Kaiser, and who burglarized and who only confesses to things once he's red-handed caught about them, and otherwise will lie, and as long as he could maintain a lie, he'll do it. If you're defending someone like that, then well, you know. Scott almost says, I don't know. Ryan M says, regarding Chili's 5A card, I saw a cop in my neighborhood, so I grabbed my phone and started recording and yelled, I'm exercising my rights from my couch. Don't think you heard. Well, I mean, that's probably the best place to record it from. Papa Sensor says, nah, that is certainly not. Boulder Bob says, man, this is a dud. Well, I'm sorry. KFAR says, at JJ Thomas, none of that is true. Mike assured me. So, Mike assured me so. I also read the full paperwork. Mike hasn't lied ever. Gutley asks, when did Bird become a sob sit? Right after I got done banging your mom. Tell her I said thanks for the pie, too. Papa Sanser says, starts with a re, ends with an R's. Papa Sanser says, not going to say it on here. Retards? You're talking about retards, right? Ryan M says, you're typing it, not saying it. J. Tom says, little clown. Orange Cone says, does your wife like fish keeping? Does my wife like fish keeping? No. She tolerates my obsession. Ryan M says, you're welcome, guys. I got the stream extended. Thank you. P. Kicker says, imagine Merb and Anthony Lopez tying the knot. Who's Anthony Lopez? Julie K says, make it big, Merb. This is as big as I got, all right? I'm sorry. It doesn't get any bigger. Captain Clown says, that's what she said. Sweet Melissa says, guys, I gotta sleep. Hugs, good people. Where's my damn purple heart? I don't have a purple heart. Stone Vet says, sweet Melissa, night. Sarah Marie says, good night, sweet Melissa. Julie Kate says, oh God, Merb, it's so big. No woman has ever said that to me before. Thank you. Julie K says, Ryan M, isn't there a motion to dismiss in Floyd's case? Why rule on this first and not the 12b6? Well, I think I probably did answer that, but in case you missed it, Wallace has had several extensions, to file his answer to the motion to dismiss and the motions to strike. So there's two pending dispositive motions. And why don't they rule on them? Because Floyd hasn't filed his opposition yet. So until he files his opposition, or until the time for him to file his opposition passes, then the court's just waiting for that opposition. That's why. Ed says there's a city in Mississippi named Picayune. It's a rather small, unimportant city. Michelle says, Ed, why so unimportant? Ed says, I hoped to never hear nunc pro tunc spoken again. Ed says, Michelle, I don't know. That's the dictionary definition of the word Picayune. Michelle says, oh, is it? That's funny. It's near me. Pat's Cat says, at Stone Vet, it was hilarious over there tonight. It was a good stream, Stone Vet. Pat's Cat says, hi, Ed. Ed says, Michelle, really? Have you ever visited there? Did I scroll too far? There we go. Ed says, hey, at Pat's Cats. Michelle says, absolutely, Ed. Ed asks, Michelle, what's your opinion of the city? I've never visited there, but when I lived in Mississippi, Biloxi, but I've heard of it. Sarah Marie says, Ed, me too. The nunc pro tunc nonsense was mind-blowingly dull. And then there's a flag and a thumbs up. Michelle says, Picayune is a small rural town. It's building up, however, just like many small Mississippi towns are. Ed gives Michelle a thumbs up and says, as long as it has a McDonald's in town, it's a great place in my book. McDonald's is terrible and terrible for you. Michelle says they do, and a Popeyes. Ed says, Michelle, now you're talking. Pat's Cat says, J.J. Thomas, not just that, but old vulnerable people and their pain meds. Yes, people like Michael Kaiser like to prey on the weak. And yeah, and as soon as someone like Stone Vet stands up to him, he fucking vamooses because Stone Vet isn't weak, and Michael Kaiser preys on the weak. Redacted said, "What's your hot take on Alex Jones getting debanked?" I don't like anyone. I don't like Alex Jones. I want to be very clear. I don't like Alex Jones. I don't watch Alex Jones. I don't co-sign for any of Alex Jones's shit. Period. But I don't think anybody should be debanked. Why a bank has to get involved in your speech is beyond me. Like your relationship with your bank should be private. Like you should know who your bank is. Your bank should know who you are. And unless you're writing someone a check that they're going to cash on that bank, then that's nobody else's business. So there you go. Ed says the copy even gave Merv a sticker during one of his audits. Not just one sticker, a whole bunch of stickers. A whole bunch of stickers. And my wife took them and put them on her, she has like a coffee cup thingy. And she put them on there because she thought they were great. Hello Baby says, thanks Merv, you're welcome. Pat's Cat says, but that's free speech. I get to know who is who. But that's free speech. I get to know who is who. I don't know what that means, but okay. Pat's Cat says, night, everyone. Been a great night with Stone Vet and Merv. Well, good night, Pat's Cats. GMK Midwit says, shitty corner of YouTube. What would you have us do? Watch Vegas buffet review videos all day? I mean, that sounds pretty tantalizing. I mean, they have some nice buffets out there in Vegas. Ed says, night, Pat's Cats. Have a good night rest. Ed says, Gouda is good, but cheddar's better. It's a lot more versatile. Cheddar's a lot more versatile. And you have sharp cheddars, you have mild cheddars, You've got white cheddars. You have all sorts. I love, like with a sliced apple pie, I love a piece of very sharp cheddar melted on top. So good. Captain Clown says pepper jack is decent. Okay. J. Thomas says, uh, lol, yes, Merb. That first comment cut off because you were only allowed 200 characters. Then the computer froze, so there you go. Michelle says most cheese is wonderful. That is a true statement of fact. That has been scientifically proven. Goosebump says, hey, Stone Vet, I just caught the tail end of your stream tonight. I hope you'll get in touch with Locusifence Lair. I actually think you'd hit it off. Orange Cone says there are 5 food groups: cheese, chocolate, coffee, potato, and other. There's no meat in there, and I am a huge meat eater. So, Sarah Marie says maybe rewards. Ooh. No, it's retards. Retards. Captain Clown says what kind? Pecan, strawberry, apple? Sure. What are you talking about? I don't know. Tays Otters Off Like Elle says people who never bangs possessive, mom's possessive, say that they do. Grammar is not your strong suit, sir. That's what your mom says when I'm banging her. P Kicker says Anthony Lopez is audit them Captain Foya. Okay. Ponzi says Jesus and hookers. Nice. Papa Sanser says, yep, that would be the word I'm talking about. I didn't want your video to get flagged because of how sensitive YouTube minders are. I don't care. None of my shit is monetized, so I don't care. Jasper Kalen, did Springer's request to disqualify the judge seem a bit like it was drafted by a pro se plaintiff despite being filed by an attorney? The language seemed very flippant for an experienced attorney. I looked him up because I thought that this guy is out of his element. I thought he was doing like agricultural and farm law would mostly not be federal. To the best of my knowledge, there's not going to be a lot of federal stuff going on that. So I thought maybe he was just out of place in the federal courts. Uh, but his bio and everything says he does a lot of federal and a lot of civil rights stuff. So I don't know. I did not think that it was well drafted. Um, and I don't think it's gonna work. And if they appeal the request to disqualify, I don't think they'll win on appeal. But a very experienced attorney once told me, nothing ventured, nothing gained. You might as well ask for it because you might get it. Uh, but another problem is I think you'd get the same result out of another judge. The judge ruled the way I would have ruled. I mean, when I was looking at these things, I'm like, okay, well, he's got a real problem showing that he's going to prevail. Like he had problems on 3 out of the 4 legs, and he had to win on all 4 of them. So I think if you got another judge, the other judge would rule the same way, and it's a problem with what he's asking for. So it's not something the judge did wrong. I don't think, but whatever. Pete Kicker says, "Wait, what McDonald's is bad for us?" No, I'll say it ain't so. I don't think I'm bursting your bubble by telling you McDonald's is terrible for you. Redacted says base take on what my position on sharp cheddar on sliced apple pie, hot apple pie. Sharp cheddar on apple pie. Boy, howdy. If you haven't tried it, you should. It's good. Tays Otters says cheesecake is my favorite cheese. That's not cheese. Orange Coast says meat is an other. No, meat is one of the essential food groups. Captain Clown says pie. Hell yeah, brother. Sarah Marie says you missed my comment at 23 minutes past whatever hour you were on there. I'm sorry. Jasper, it'll be on the stream. People will see it, and I don't know. Maybe you can say it again. I don't know. Jasper Kalen says I say there are 2 kinds of foods: those made better by the addition of chocolate, and those made better by the addition of bacon. But there's very little overlap between those 2 groups. Uh, I don't. I like bacon. I mean, like having a couple pieces of bacon with my breakfast is fine. But I like bacon cheeseburgers. Like I'd rather just have a cheeseburger. Honestly, like a lot of things, I don't. Bacon's a pretty strong flavor. I don't think it adds a lot to a lot of things that people put it on. Peaker says yes. BK home of the Whopper. Plenty of meat there. All right. I I'm gonna confess that I like the Texas Double Whopper. If I go to BK, but I try not to eat fast food because I'm fat. Taze Otter says my grammar is spot on. My phone, not so much. Well, sure. Burns says Merb. Burns. P Kicker says Arby's has the beef. Arby's is disgusting. Reductus says no, the debanking one. I don't think that's based. I'm not co-signing for Alex Jones. It's just no one should be debanked. And you know, if it if the shoe's on the other foot and they start debanking people on the other side of the argument, whatever the argument is, I would still be against it. Taze Otter says, "I love Arby's." Well, you have terrible taste in fast food. And Logan Sandman says, "Peanut butter and bacon rocks." I had a I had chocolate covered bacon before, and it was actually really good. So I can imagine that peanut butter covered bacon wouldn't be terrible. But that's two salty things together. I think you should really try to balance it out with more of a sweet than a salty. But you know, your mileage may vary. Goosebump is with me on the bacon thing. Well, that's good because I know I'm not the only one. Um, Bacon doesn't make everything better. Some things it makes better, but not everything. Captain Clown says, now I'm missing the Roy Rogers double R bar burgers. I'm not familiar with that. P Kicker says, agreed. Arby's is horrible. BK all the way. Sarah Marie says, BK burgers and McDonald's fries. McDonald's fries, I'm told, have aluminum salt in them. And that's, I don't know what else that McDonald's has that aluminum salt in it, but aluminum salt has apparently allegedly been tied to degenerative brain functions. I'm not talking about water brain or whatever the fuck that shit was, but like Alzheimer's and things like that. So I would go easy on the McDonald's fries. It's not real food. Uh, Redacted says sounds based to me. Okay. Ryan M says debate politicians. Well, if we just hung them until they were no longer with us, except for in spirit, then we wouldn't have to worry about debanking them. All politicians are terrible. Burn says habanero and bacon jam is so damn good. Okay. Well, I think that's it for tonight. Thank you very much for watching and have a